Captain on the bridge.
Alright, Captains, we are back on the bridge, and today, yes, we got some things to go over from the Star Trek Resurgence Twitter feeds, so on screen. Yes, Captains, before we get into this video, do us a huge favor, hit that like button. Also, if you're new here, welcome. Consider subscribing here to the YouTube bridge, as we're always on the lookout for like-minded captains where we can share our love, our excitement for Star Trek Resurgence, but also things Star Trek. And that said, here we go. Captains, our last video that we did here was covering the fact that Jonathan Frakes will actually be in Star Trek Resurgence. So that is awesome. But we've got a ton of things to go over. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over the blogs, go over the tweets, drop our 2 ECs, and of course, at the end, give our conclusion. So here we go. Of course, just more. I love how they're releasing these screenshots. I love it. All this is really looking forward to. Look, this looks so beautiful. Here again, just kind of a tweet here. This away mission is counting on you to join the crew May 23, which is a week away, less than a week away, Captains, and definitely look forward to our playthroughs that we will be uploading here to the YouTube bridge. So there is that. Now, I thought this was pretty interesting here while we were going over this. So while we explored a number of options for the USS Resolute, the Centaur class was always an early favorite because it was built for the Dominion War from Excelsior and Miranda class parts. It was the best of both worlds of old and new. I would have used probably an Akira. Just saying. We haven't had a ship or an Akira ship kind of be put front and center. I mean, sure, if you want the Centaur, too late now, it is the Centaur, but I personally would have went for the Akira. Just saying, because this was in a reply to this, so I'm curious what made you guys decide to go with the Centaur class as a hero ship of the game. So we also liked that it came with a built-in Dominion War backstory, and we added some of our own history to the Resolute as well. A disaster 6 months prior to the game that has had a lasting impact on the crew. So if you've noticed that the Resolute has a deflector dish, an engineering hull not normally found on the Centaur class, you can read about it, how those changes came about in the prequel comic miniseries from IDW Publishing. All 5 issues are available. So there it is there. I thought that was really cool. Again, info right there. Again, they're just starting up, and they weren't kidding. After they announced that you're gonna see more images, more information on Star Trek Resurgence, they have been pumping them out. So we thought we would just kind of gather them for this video update, because I'm sure there'll be more leading up to the 23rd. So there you go. Of course, you can see there they have their Facebook and Instagram there, Star Trek Resurgence. Here you go. Star Trek Resurgence introduces series fans to a memorable new crew. Of course, this is from Shack News. Of course, over this, Resurgence has one key aspect of the series nailed down, and that's a crew chemistry. So there's that news here. Of course, I'm going to always link to their Star Trek Resurgence Twitter feeds below in the description. You can go ahead, feel free to kind of look at that. But if we go here to the Shack News here, again, it's just a article here. Here, we'll kind of read it a little bit here, but we'll leave it here. So Star Trek Resurgence has one key aspect of the series nailed down. Of course, that's a crew chemistry. Shack News takes one more look at this Dramatic Labs title ahead of its release later this month, where Star Trek has followed several different ship captains across many different series. What started with James T. Kirk soon gave way to Jean-Luc Picard, Benjamin Sisko, Catherine Janeway, and a slew of other memorable leaders. The key component to a successful Star Trek project is often a crew. Show's stories within are usually as good as the show's crew. That's a principle that the team at Dramatic Labs appears to be taking with the upcoming Star Trek Resurgence. So again, we've gone over this. I'm going to leave this article, of course, in the description. Captains can go over it. It's not that long here, so we'll just go ahead and read it here. So Shack News had the opportunity to take an early look at the upcoming adventure from the studio of former Telltale developers. Those who remember our hands-on preview from last year have a general idea of the game's story. There are civilizations on the brink of war, and it's up to the crew of the USS Resolute to find out what's happening, how to prevent it, and who is moving these figurative chess pieces behind the scenes. However, that was just one piece of Resurgence formula on display. To get an idea of what lies ahead, Shack News started this story from the beginning. Our most recent playthrough introduced us more intimately to the game's two key characters, First Officer Jara Rydick and Lower Decks, not to be confused with those Lower Decks, Petty Officer Carter Diaz. Again, you see the new image here. Again, I'm quite aware of the type of gameplay we're going to be getting into. It's going to be a lot of story driven and then you making a choice, and it looks like there's going to be a timer here, so we're going to probably go first with what we would normally do in terms of choices, or what I would do in that situation. Then probably on a second playthrough, if it warrants it, try something totally, or try the opposite answer there. So Rydick is about to begin her tenure with the USS Resolute and is meeting her fellow bridge crew for the first time. In grand Star Trek tradition, Rydick is a member of an alien race known as the Kobliads, and as such requires a steady supply of duridium in order to keep her cell structure stable, which becomes a key character trait and a plot point down the road. Dramatic Labs retains much of its Telltale DNA in the major component of Resurgence gameplay. It involves making difficult choices and dealing with any effects that may have on relationships with the other crew members. So I find myself probably one who would want to build my relationship. So if any more of the any choices that I have, I will definitely go try to make those relationships stronger with at least the crew, and more of the, I guess, safer way. That's just kind of my nature in real life, but we'll see how it goes. As the story goes along, players will learn more about individual bridge crew members and their backstories, which offer a general idea of how decisions will ultimately affect how they view Rydick. The USS Resolute is embarking on one of its first missions since a major tragedy affected Captain Solano, and has had immense ramifications on the crew, how they see one another, and how they see Rydick. Diaz's role in the story is a little less complex, as he's simply a petty officer helping to do major legwork from the lower decks. Many of Resurgence's action scenes played out with him early on, as an energy storm threatened to devastate the Resolute. Players had to help clear the way through several quick-time events, but there was also a sequence that involved clearing a path back to a nearby hatch using a phaser. This is where it becomes clear that there are fail states in this game, and players should pay at least a little bit of attention to events playing out before them. I touch on Dramatic Labs being filled with former Telltale developments, and the DNA is certainly present in Resurgence. While this game doesn't use that old Telltale signature X will remember this text, it instead opts for character portraits and a colored highlight. Green, gray, and red will correspond to how the characters see either Rydick or Diaz in the moment. A handy feature allows players to check the pause menu and see individual relationship entries. Oh, pretty cool. Which will helpfully recap some of the players' choices that they have led to a specific character's feelings toward them. Trekkies will soon get to experience the story of Star Trek Resurgence and witness a new chapter on the franchise unfold. It's set to come to PC via the Epic Games Store, PlayStation, and Xbox May 23rd. Yes! Looking forward to that. Of course, again, they're just promoting their forums there. And then we get this crew. Dr. Leonard Nimoy preferred traveling by shuttlecraft over having his atoms scattered back and forth across space. Luckily, the USS Resolute is well equipped with these shuttles. Will be mission ready and waiting for you to arrive May 23rd. Awesome. I think we've already seen this, but this is one of my favorite shuttles in Star Trek because, well, one of the first ones I saw in TNG. So up here in space, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. What's your drink of choice? Ramen ale, Klingon blood wine, or prune juice? I actually do like Earl Grey. So just saying. Again, just another shot there of us, Rydick, talking to Captain Solano there, and we're probably going to be offered a drink. So in that situation, I would go, no thanks. That's just me. Captain, we've reached a coded message from Starfleet with the identities of the key individuals connected with our mission. I'm decrypting it now. Update me with their dossiers as soon as each one is available, Mr. Ermut. Awesome, awesome bridge layout. I love these consoles. It looks so good. Again, just kind of love the bridge interior. I really do. It's almost like a mix of, like, I feel NX, but also like Excelsior and of course Galaxy because of the wood look there. Love it. Love it. Now we get introduced to some of the voice actors. So we're going to see who are actually voicing the actor. Now, Spock was kind of the one that we wanted to see. So now, I believe his name is Pewter. Michael voices Spock, one of the most storied careers in all Starfleet. Ambassador Spock now serves the Federation in diplomatic matters and joins the Resolute mission to prevent a war. That is pretty cool here because he actually does sound like Spock, so that is pretty awesome. Now we get to see the voice actor behind Spock. Of course, here's Star Trek has a fascinating Star Trek story to tell. Of course, comic book latest news there. And now we get to see who is behind Jara Rydek. He's voiced by Pizia Bajos. Jara is one of the 2 playable characters in Star Trek Resurgence and the new first officer of the Resolute, and an outsider in more ways than one. She has a lot to prove. We have answers for a couple lingering questions, and this is the most important one, Captains. Pricing. Star Trek Resurgence will launch at $39.99 USD on PS, Xbox, and of course Epic Game Store. Unfortunately, no pre-orders. Logistics simply didn't come together in time. We're still on track for May 23rd, so hope we see everyone on day 1. So I'm okay with the price. I really am. I thought it was going to be a little bit more. I would have probably went if it was like 80, but for 40 bucks, again, I know for the majority what I'm getting in terms of how this is really just a story-driven game, and I don't mind that. I like stories, especially when it comes to this era of Star Trek TNG. So I'm okay with the price, and of course, just over time that'll go down even more. But we are definitely getting this day 1, Captains, for 39. So for here in Canada, it'd probably be like 45, 40, maybe almost 50 bucks. I'm okay with that. If it was 80, that's when I'd be like, that might be a little too much, but we'll see. So we can also confirm Star Trek Resurgence will be a digital-only release at launch. So again, you can only get it through PlayStation, Xbox, and Epic Game stores. The ship may be empty now, but it won't be for long. We're just waiting for you to arrive. 2 weeks for the time of that tweet. So what do you think of the design of the USS Resolute interiors? I think they are freaking fabulous. I love this. I really do. Love the bridge layout here. Of course, there's the shuttle bay, the warp core. I love the warp core. Love the design of that. Reminds me of lower decks too in the hallways. Of course, we've seen that already, but love it, love it, love it. Now, Carter Diaz is voiced by Josh Keaton, our other player character. Petty Officer Diaz enlisted in Starfleet to get out and see the stars. Engineering in his specialty, but all his skills will be tested on his adventure. So pretty cool. There he is, and that is the voice actor for him. Looking forward to seeing what type of personality he brings to Carter Diaz. Stephanie Sehe voices Petty Officer Neely Edsiller. She's best friends with Carter Diaz, whip smart with a penchant for sarcasm. She's unjoined Trill, who wants to stay that way and isn't afraid of defying convention. That's awesome. It almost looks like her too. That's pretty cool. Of course, we got a little help now. This is as May 11th. There's pre-orders up here, Captains. If you need, we're just gonna get it from the store there when it comes out. The tricorder, one of the Starfleet's officers' most important tools, uncover mysteries, see what can't be seen. Don't leave the ship without it. Get your hands on one of these Star Trek Resurgence releases. They're really pushing it, and I love it. So we get to look at our tricorder there. That's awesome. Of course, they're always going to be using that. Looking forward to that little mini game. So J.P. Karlaik provides the voice of Lieutenant Commander Chovak. As the Resolute's chief engineer, Chovak is Carter and Esther's boss. He's not an easy guy to please, so execute your duties efficiently to stay in his good side. Pretty awesome. You can't help but not compare every Vulcan character to Spock. He just looks like a younger version of Spock. But looking forward to that. Of course, the Type 2 phase are useful for more than just facing down your enemies, set to stun in the Starfleet way, but sometimes you just have to use that other setting. Really don't leave the ship without it. So we get some scenes here. Oh, we get to get in some fights. Of course, we saw that one already. We saw that too already. So usually in someone's hand when it's on screen, but if you look closely, you'll see the phaser shares elements of both the Cobra head and the boomerang style. That's awesome. So another character here that's going to be voiced here. Tylus is voiced by Amanda Miller as the Hotari Minister of Diplomatic Affairs. Tylus Ataris finds herself aligned with the Federation and trying to prevent a war from breaking out between her people and the Elydians. The game launches. Oh, look at this. Yes, how it started versus how it's going. Left, the USS Resolute in Star Trek Resurgence as it appears in the prequel comic. And of course, right, how it looks in the game where you get to step on board. Yes, love it. Love the side-by-side pick. We kind of did the same thing too, but cannot wait for that. Game launches May 23rd, of course. Another voice actor here. Deborah Wilson voices Dr. Iram Duval. That's awesome. I've always loved Deborah Wilson. She's absolutely funny. So we're going to see some sass. I believe we're going to see some sass here. Remember, the crew trusts Dr. Duval because she can always be counted on to tell the unvarnished truth, professionally or personally, even when it's difficult to hear. Yes, I'm really looking for more sass. Now, the voice actor Keith Silverstein voices Sidran, one of the Hotari miners who ousted the Elydians. Sidran now finds himself in a more complex political world than he used to, but he's perfectly happy to throw his weight around. Love that these actors are loving and able to add to the Star Trek universe. It's pretty nice when you turn your head and the helmet actually moves too. Check out the updated EV suits featured in Star Trek Resurgence. Of course, this is the screenshot we saw there earlier in that Shack News article. Looking at that. Love the suits there. Pretty similar to the Star Trek Online suits. EV suits. This is fun. So Julian Grossman provides the voice of the Resolute's computer. This isn't her first time in Starfleet either, as she also voices the ship computer in Star Trek Discovery. When you have questions, she has the answers. That's awesome. That's really cool. So I think Zora is the computer for Discovery, I believe. The brig of the USS Resolute, come on in, make yourself comfortable, and stay a while. You'll have your chance when Star Trek Resurgence, of course, launches May 20th. I think it's the first time we see the brig here. That's cool. Kind of almost like your standard brig, but pretty spacious. But for royalty, Deborah Wilson is your queen. Wow, she voices another person here, the leader of the Hotari. She presides over their march to freedom. If she can hold firm against their longtime foes, the Elydians, it would not be wise to test her. That's cool. She voices two people. Star Trek Resurgence, exactly 1 week. So this was just 4 hours ago. This is the latest tweet there. Excited to see in our take on Trek. And this is the new image here. I don't know who that character is, but it looks like he has something on his arm there and another Starfleet officer there. So we see Rydick looking all pretty. I love the graphics here. I know some people are not liking it, but that's okay. I'm for it here. I can't wait to share it to those who are actually looking forward to this game. So again, we'll see and share that experience, of course, here on the YouTube bridge. So I believe that's all. Captains, definitely a lot that we had to go over here. The update, I thought it'd be cool to just kind of let it pile up as opposed to making it every day, because now it's a week out too. So if there's any more updates, we'll probably do 2 days, 3 days worth, maybe before the weekend or on the weekend before the day of the release. Yeah, I'm very excited. Hopefully we'll be able to, I'm not sure where I'm going to be streaming, probably here on YouTube. And then we're just going to do a playthrough as we've normally done, just to sort of just enjoy this story of Trek and then see what it adds to the Star Trek universe. So again, we got a bunch of new information here, but the most important one is the pricing of this, which I'm okay with personally. And I will be picking it up as soon as we can on May 23rd. So Captains, that is the video. Hit that like button in the description below. Let us know what you're looking forward to. Let us know what you like, or let us know what you think of the pricing, if it's fair. And of course, consider subscribing here to the YouTube Bridge. We will leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.